Hey, Jennifer, how are you?
I'm wonderful, LaDonna. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so glad to have this opportunity to get to know you and your business even better than what I did yesterday. And I want the whole world to know about Jennifer and her business and how you help other business owners, other people with themselves inside and out, and how that can affect their business as well. Because as we all know, Jennifer, if home life is not just right, it will run over to business life and vice versa. And I'm always out to hear different entrepreneurs, business owners tell us what they know and how they do it so that others can learn from you. So Jennifer, tell me just something sweet and short about you and your business.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. So, everything we do is interconnected, right? Everything's, whether it's at home or business, it's all connected. So, what I do is I work with my clients to help them gain clarity, in, improve on their confidence, give them the empowerment to go ahead and unapologetically create the life that they desire. And that's personally, professionally, however they come. um they may come with one thing that they want to work on first, right? But through the process and through the personal development that they're going to go through with me, the transformation that they start to process going through, we uncover a deeper passion, or something deeper is ingrained, right? A limiting belief and those types of things. So we work through those. So somebody might come to me for one thing, but we may end up actually working on several other things at the same time. So,
Yes, I love how you say that because, when people come to me personally or business, I get more business people. I per se, they come to me for business guidance, but sometimes we have to hit on that level of personal because
mhm.
it does interact like a puzzle. And sometimes just by me listening, I know what they need or want before they know what they need and want because they just haven't really taken the time to absorb what they want as a person or as a business because they're worried about their their children, their significant other, where they live, their employees, the VAs that work with them. They're worried about everyone but themselves. And sometimes that doesn't work. That jigsaw puzzle starts falling apart and it's hard to get it back together. So by listening, sometimes for me, I can kind of say, so I hear what you're saying is da da da. And they're like, oh, I never thought of it that way.
Yeah. And it's so important to be able to give back and have, like, resonate what they're saying to you, right? And really hear them, because life is noisy, life is chaotic, right? So, what we need to do is slow it down and actually take time to process what it is that we're feeling or we're thinking, in a space where we can do that. And we don't always have that space, right? Or we don't have people always around us that we can. So when we find people that we can do that with, it's taking that opportunity to actually embrace the time to slow down, think about what it is that you're feeling or you're thinking about, to determine what's next, right? And I think that you hit it on the nail on the head with that, because it's, we we go in so many different directions, and then we stop putting on our own oxygen mask. I am notorious. I've done it many too many times. But I've learned through the different not sure the word I'm looking for right now, but like the different things in my life, right? Or different areas and different times of my life. I've realized when I put that oxygen mask on first, and I really take that time to figure out what it is that I want, it impacts me in a greater way, in not just for myself, but for my family, for my business, and people around me, right? So then getting into an opportunity to work with clients to let them hear what they're saying and say it back to them, because when you can do that, it's almost like you spark it and you're like, I forgot about that. Or, I had a client when they said something to me and I responded and I said, so this is what you're saying. They actually, when they heard it, it took them back for a minute and they were like, wow, I didn't realize that. So that's really powerful to be able to do. And just we as human beings need that, whether it's personally, professionally, both, right? Because again, we're intertwined.
Absolutely.
So,
My husband one day said he can hear me here in my office and he's home because he works compressed shifts. He's home 3 or 4 days a week, off and on, because he works the long hours. And he said, you do know that you're not a certified counselor. You're not a doctor. I'm like, I know I'm not, but sometimes when you are really trying to help someone see something and figure out, for me, for instance, I had a client, Jennifer, and he came to me because he's like, I just cannot connect with people like I need to connect with them. I'm talking to them, but they're not turning into clients. They're not, it's like I'm having to chase them. And so when we started talking, it's like, okay, but why do you think it's that way? Well, I think that, but why do you think it's that way? And sometimes if you just ask a couple of times, they answer it all on their own, but they don't hear it.
that's right.
They don't hear it. They have to have that reinforcement.
Mm-hmm.
And when they get it, I have seen tears. I have seen madness. I have seen, oh, wow. And that makes my heart tickle.
Yeah,
Right? It makes your heart tickle when you know that you're
absolutely.
just sitting here talking to a complete stranger on Zoom across the world, and now you just became best buddies because you helped them with
Yeah.
something more than they ever thought they were coming to you for. Because you
Yeah.
have to figure out, why are they not making that connection? Why are they not being able to close a deal? Whatever the issue is that they think they're coming for, they don't realize it's something deeper that we have to, we have to figure out. That doesn't mean we're getting in their heads as medically or mentally, but we are uncovering some blockage, I think.
Absolutely. I agree with you. So it's interesting because there's always a deeper why. And sometimes asking that question a couple of times, why do you think this? Or why do you feel this way? Right? Just in a different way. Or, okay, so I hear you're saying this, but why is it this way? Why do you feel this way? And I think that's the biggest thing is we don't allow ourselves the time to really uncover all the deep limiting beliefs or trauma or pain or whatever it is that we're holding on to. And it can actually really physically make us sick and just our bodies, right? So holding on to all that really takes a toll on our bodies. And I know firsthand that working through the process of healing from trauma or healing from emotions that you don't allow yourself to feel at a specific time, but then allow that to come out, it's very healing. And I don't think enough people realize that they are probably holding on to trauma, or and it doesn't have to be like this massive trauma. It could be losing a job, bankruptcy, divorce, any number of things, right?
It can be something as simple as the children not coming home on time from a friend's house or making bad grades. Trauma is trauma, no matter how small or big. Guess what?
Mhm.
There is no such thing as small or big. It's trauma.
That's right.
It may
That's
not
right.
be trauma for me because, we're all different in our personalities, but
Mhm.
another person could completely fall apart.
That's
You know,
right.
I have a car accident a couple of years ago. It was like a three car, and I get out. I was the first car, and I was sitting still at the red light for at least 30 seconds before they hit me. And the first thing I do is I get out. Is everybody okay? The lady behind me was going, "Oh my God, my car, my car, my car." She had two children in the back seat. She never looked to see if the children were okay. I'm the one that opened the door to say, "Hey, babies, are you okay?" Because she was so worried about her. See, I'm telling you this story because we react differently. It's about how we react.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
can react in every situation differently with the different times of our life, different things going on. Some things make me want to cry. Other things I'm like, I did that 16 years ago. We made it through it. So.
It is so true though, right? And it depends on like what we are currently going through, what we previously have gone through that will impact a certain behavior or
Absolutely.
reaction. And until we can realize if it's something that's really benefiting us or something that's kind of holding us back, we can hinder ourselves in some manner, right? So I think that's the key of figuring ourselves out. And I know it's used a lot, and in some areas it's used too much, but being very self-aware of who we are. I have found that a lot of the clients that I've worked with are not fully self-aware of who they are. And through my own journey, I lost a big chunk of who I was, what I loved, what I wanted, all the things about understanding who I was. I lost that along a big part of my journey. And so learning that all over again, and now watching my clients have these transformations, realizing again who they are. And interestingly, to see them kind of like as they're finding out who they are again, sparking something professionally, but also personally at the same, and it's all blossoming it together. And it's just beautiful to see that. But I do think that we don't allow ourselves through these last few years the time to really understand who we are, what we want. It's, well, we're told this from a young age, and we should just, get a job, do this and do that, and have a marriage. And well, guess what do you want? What is truly going to make you happy, right? And obviously we have to take care of our bills, take care of our families, those things. But at the same time, if we can do that with something we love and we are passionate about, it helps in every area of our lives.
Absolutely. And with that said, you said something very important, knowing yourself. And I think we get lost in that because of all the fast paced world we live in. And I know the generation coming up is really trying to slow our world down. And I love that idea to some point. But as always, it's a change. So I'm like, I'm seeing some issues. I don't know if I feel comfortable, but it is what it is. And it's going to happen if I feel comfortable with it or not, because the younger generation is going to do what they do. I mean, we did when we were young, you do when you were young. But you hit something a little bit earlier that I wanted to go back, because this is a word that we use all the time with every coach, mentor, strategist, teacher. It can be a teacher online. It can be a school teacher of any age group. And that's that key word, clarity. When you said clarity, that is huge. I mean, millions of dollars have been spent on trying to figure out clarity for big companies, you know, big companies like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Nike, I'm sure Amazon, all the big companies, they have spent millions on figuring out their clarity. And clarity changes from time to time. I get that. But what is your number one thing that you really try to help your clients when it comes to figuring out their clarity?
First and foremost, we have to understand what our priorities and values are. And they've gotten lost over the years. And it could be lost because you've gotten, I take my own story, right? Kind of getting lost in a relationship and then getting lost in a corporate job. All the things I thought were going to give me the things I wanted, right? So those priorities and values, I think we think we know what they are. But I have found so many times with my clients, they don't know what they are, or they're having a hard time understanding what they actually are at their current stage in their life. So to gain some clarity, to understand who they are, what they want, we need to understand that. If we don't understand those priorities and values, how can we understand where we're going to want to go? Because we don't even know who we are, right? Or what we stand for. So if we don't know that, it's very difficult to continue moving forward. Yes, you might be going through the motion, but again, it's going through motions, right? And I don't want that for my clients. I don't want that for people in general. And that's where, I went through a lot of change myself and transformation over these last few years. And with that, it's like, I want them to understand they're not alone, that they can figure it out. And if they need help, that people are here to help them. And that's my biggest thing, right? And so to gain their clarity, we strive to understand first and foremost, like, what are our priorities and values, so that we can understand who we are and what we stand for.
Absolutely.
Because without that, I think, you got to figure out your foundation, because you can't keep building when the foundation is so rocky, because it's gonna fall.
Yeah.
Right.
I teach that with business building. I have a client that he was getting ready to give the business to his son, but the business, it's a brick and mortar business, but he was reaching out for help. And I said, but when is the last time you've been on social media and, let people know that you're here? I don't do social media. And I knew that answer because he's even older than I am. And as my grandchildren say, I'm back from the dinosaur years. So he's really back, and I said, but your son is only in his 30s. And he said, yes. And I said, well, we need to get your son in with me as well, because we need to start teaching him social media, even though he has a brick and mortar business, because we need to go back to the foundation of when you started your business. Your foundation has cracks in it now. I live in Texas, so that is something that Texas is known for, is, cracks in your foundation. So, and he's in Texas as well. So it was a great metaphor for him, is that now your foundation has cracks. We need to go back and fix them. What are things that you used to do that you no longer do? Well, he don't advertise in the newspaper, because where is that? He doesn't advertise on the television, because that's not radio. No, there's not much of that either, unless you are a huge company. And I said, so you just unlock your door every day? He goes, yeah, the customers used to come in. But see, he used to do the paper. He used to do the local newspaper. He used to do the local TV stations. He used to go and, give out little gifts to the other businesses on his block. They don't do that anymore. So sometimes going back to the foundation of where you started as a human being or your business, you have to regroup. You have to pivot.
Yeah.
Have
And
to
I
do
think
that. I
that,
agree.
yeah, and it changes, right? So those priorities and values are going to change. And that's going to change as we evolve and change. And that's just part of life because things happen to us, things change. And if we're doing the work on ourselves and we're wanting to do more and strive for more, then we're continuously learning and educating ourselves.
Absolutely.
Right. So I think we just knowing that those priorities and values is kind of like we need to know and understand them, but also know, and that's what I work with them too, is understand that those can change. So it's figuring out how do we kind of keep that in track.
Yes. And we do change. Society changes, social media changes. Yep. We change of different things that are going on in our lives. I have 2 grown daughters. They now teach me things. Because guess what? They're in that age of they're changing the world right now. I'm not in that part of the world anymore because I'm in a different part of the world. But I don't want to be clueless. So I'm always learning. Yep. I always tell people, if you're a coach, you still need a coach. You still need a mentor. Because guess what? If I don't know what's going on tomorrow, the next day, just because it's going on today, just because social media is the way they are today, doesn't mean that they're not going to change tomorrow. I guarantee you Facebook probably will.
Yeah. And you're right? So, I mean, and depending on what you need to work on, you're going to level up. And as you level up, you're going to level up with your coaches or your mentors. And it could be yeah, right. And they're leveling up. So as you are leveling up, they're coming up, so it's just this, and that's one of the things that I think is so much fun is watching, like, I have a specific client in mind that, like, she came in for one specific thing and she's like, it totally blew my mind that I've actually learned so much more, because she was focusing on one thing, but then when we started going through the nuts and bolts of it, right, that she was like, I had no idea that I didn't know, right? And so you don't know what you don't know until you actually start working it.
I say that often. I don't know what I don't know until I know it.
Right. And I think too, it's until you get into like figuring out things, you think, again, we go back to clients are coming in saying that this is what they want to work on. But as we ask the questions and we have conversations with them, it's pulling the information out of them, right? And I think the biggest thing too is that they see that, oh, I did know what to do, but they don't have that time, or they're not having someone right then and there until they're a client to get that one-on-one to understand, oh, okay, now that I've slowed down, I'm able to figure this out. That's
beautiful.
Yeah.
One last thing before we end today is that I read something, I think it was on your Facebook. Unapologetically create the life you desire. What comes to mind, heart, and soul when you wrote that out and you wanted it to be a part of your business?
So as you asked me that, I just got the chill. I want my clients to understand that anything that they desire, they can have, they can create it. We have what we need inside of ourselves. It's finding it, nurturing it, and being able to let it blossom. And it takes time. And it really came to me because I went through several things throughout the last decade. Being newly divorced from my high school sweetheart, got into a whole new relationship, which was very turmoil. And then becoming not only a co-parent mom to my daughter, but then a single mother to my son. He's with me 100% of the time. It opened my eyes that it was like, what's happening? Where am I going? And all these things. And I lost who I was. So I got on this journey of personal development, and I wanted others to know, as I started to, walk through this path of figuring out who I was, and I rebuilt my life. Because through that mix of being on my own for the first time with the two kids, then I got laid off from my corporate job after 16 years. And then it was a bankruptcy, and then another layoff. And it was like, oh my gosh, like, no more, I'm done. Like, but as I went through my journey and I was learning all about who I was, it was like, I can do this. I can rebuild. And, sitting in my home today, after filing bankruptcy, I was able to purchase this home for the kids and I on my own. Anything is possible. And I just want people to understand they can be who they are and be true to who they are. I struggled with that for so long. Like, I have faith. I like rock and roll. I like my country. I like whiskey. I like beer. I'm a mixture. I like rock. Like, there's all types of parts of me, but creating a life for me and my children without any apologies to anybody, but know that I'm doing the best I can with the intention of being able to help others and give and help others know that they're not alone in this journey, right? And I think that's the biggest piece for me is just watching my own journey unfold, and then being able to pick up the pieces, figure it out, move forward, but then watch my clients be able to transform their own lives as we go through their journey. Just understanding that whatever we want to create our life to be, we can create it, and we should be doing that without apologizing for it. And that to me was like an epiphany as I, got, went through my journey, and I still go through it, right? Again, evolving and changing all the time. And so for me, I want everyone to be able to live the life that they love, the one they want. Will it be hard? Yes. It's not always easy, but being able to do it without apologizing for it.
Yes. And you know what? I think that's a great note to finish on. I heard Jennifer say, love the life that you want. Have the life that you want. And one of my newest sayings, probably from the last year at my age now, is that I did not think this when I was younger, but at my age now, I'm like, it's about the journey. Life is about the journey that you're going through. If you're not doing something you love, change it. Life is too short. It's about the journey. It should not be a battle every day of your life.
Right.
And
the journey is beautiful.
The journey can be beautiful. And you know what? Battling life every day is not living. It's not life. We've all, in some way, shape, or form, have lived somewhere, somehow, a battle, some more than others. So, all right, Jennifer, I thank you so very much. And I can't wait to see you again. But for now, we will say goodbye to everyone, and we will see you all again very soon.
Thank you, LaDonna.
Thank you. Bye bye now.
Bye.